Good morning from a wonderful, cheery Bhutan. I'm Arun Kapur. I'm here to talk to you about a method of learning and growing up that we came up with here. It's called the 5 areas of development. We are very clear that for the process of growing up from the time you're born to when you become an adult, that process itself is fairly complicated, it's tough, it's full of struggle, it's full of pleasure, it's great fun, and it's all of these. And it requires for us to understand that there is, in that process, schooling is just one part. And because it's a fairly large part, uh, the school itself must understand that it should not restrict itself to just the cerebral growth or just the physical growth of the growing child. There are various other dimensions, and they cannot be excluded from the process of growing up. And as a child spends a fair amount of time in the school, I think all schools should acknowledge that in their plans, they must take care of all the 5 areas of development. Cerebral, of course, is there. Physical, of course, is there. But so is social, emotional, and spiritual. So once you accept that if you're looking at what has been called, what we're looking at as the child as a complete individual, and the requirements of each individual being different from the other individuals in the grouping or the cohort that the school might create. The 5 areas of development, if taken as a method or a process by which you help each individual child grow up to actualize her potential, then the merging of schooling and education will happen, right? And that is what our whole idea is about, the merging of schooling and education, because education is what we need to, and as I understand it, it means to bring out from within you, educate the best inside you. So the idea of the 5 areas of development, which is available on many places on the website, is to take a holistic view of the growing up process of each child. So the 5 areas of development can be looked at. The good part of this is that you can contextualize it to any part of the world. You can contextualize it to each child. But much more importantly, it has to be also applicable to all the adults in the process. So the teachers or the adults in this whole process by which children grow up must have their own understanding, their own growth people. If they're not growing, then it's very difficult for them to be part of the growing process of the children. About 22 years ago, I came up with, set up a preschool where the idea was learning how to learn. And that still runs, it's called Pallavan. And the idea is to teach the children how to learn. And therefore, when you look at the full 5 areas of development and take that into account, learning how to learn, that the adults are very much part of the learning process, and the adults learn from the children as much as the children learn from the adults. And then the institution also has the 5 areas of development. So these 5 areas of development that I'm talking about is something that any organization which is involved with learning, which is involved with helping children grow from childhood to adulthood, can use inside classrooms, outside classrooms, with adults, with children, and then what we get at the end, hopefully, is constructive, committed citizens of the community, and that is a growing community, it's a global community, but it needs to be localized, so you have your roots which are deep, which allow you to be who you are, to actualize your potential, and understand that your potential is dynamic, it's not static, and it continues to evolve. And the 5 areas of development help you evolve as you grow, and as your geographical situations changes, as your social situations change, as you are growing growing and growing, and as your growing and learning process never stops, this 5 areas of development and the idea behind that it is dynamic stays with you for the rest of your life. So you're constantly growing, constantly actualizing your potential, and your potential, like I said before, is not static, it's dynamic. And that's why I hope that more and more people understand that the merging of education and schooling needs to be an urgent need. So here at the Royal Academy in Bhutan, under the vision of His Majesty the King of Bhutan, who idea and vision this is in such a way, we have been able to actually actualize and put into practice the 5 areas of development, and our whole process functions here. So it's no longer just something that resides in a book, but it's in practice, and how to practice it is needs to be locally contextualized, and ownership of this needs to be taken by every single organization, institution to take it forward. So I hope more and more people are able to learn how to learn, to able to actualize their potential, which is, as I said, dynamic, and will lead to a world of people who are fairly centered with themselves, and therefore are easy in their skin and are able to deal with everybody else around them in a much more positive and sensitive attitude. And that is one of the main reasons and main factors behind the 5 areas of development, to help people become the best that they can be, and constantly be the best that they can be, even in the ever-changing, evolving situations and circumstances that they find themselves in. Thank you.